Welcome to Promo Insiders, the ASI Media podcast that covers the issues that matter most to the promotional products industry. I'm Teresa Hegel, Executive Editor of Digital Content, and today I'm speaking with Pam Seidman, founder of BYBBA, a company that makes sustainable but still very fashionable reusable bags. We're going to be learning a little more about how she started her brand and also how people can double down on sustainability without compromising on style. So thanks for joining us today, Pam.
Thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Um, so I think let's just start out and talk about your background and how, BYBBA came to be.
Sure. So I had spent about 25 years in fashion. From luxury, I was with Valentino and Versace, both in-house, working with the Italian brands to represent their brand in the United States. And then I worked on the mass side of brand building, communications, and marketing. So I was at Nine West for a while, but I spent the majority of my career working for limited brands at Express. And so the two together, the luxury and the mass, kind of gave me exposure to brand building, but then also to how to monetize businesses and a full spectrum into production, manufacturing, far greater than my exactly what I was doing, but I had purview into this powerhouse of an organization and then how to really scale it.
Okay. And then BYBBA, where did that come from?
Yeah, so in about 2019, a few states were beginning to put regulation into place about banning single-use plastics. I'm living in New York. New York started talking about it. I am very attuned to design and quality, having worked in fashion. And I looked around and I really asked myself, how was I going to jump on board with this? How was I not going to use single-use plastic bags or any, single-use bags for that matter? Was there anything out there for me and the type of consumer that I felt was underrepresented and felt there wasn't? And so I started putting together kind of a case study and business plan for what I thought where the need was in terms of a fold-away, reusable, beautifully designed and quality infused bag that would be very lasting, that would represent a certain quality level that a certain consumer was identified with and wanted and really was missing from the market.
Okay. And that's what BYBBA is.
Yeah, so BYBBA stands for Bring Your Bag Back Around. And it started with one concept, one fold-away bag that really was, very, very functional, but also started with a material that was derived 100% from recycled ocean plastic, but had all the built-in features that you would need to take it as your extra bag every day with you. So portability was top of mind. The feeling that it wasn't a crunchy fabric, that it felt good to the touch and it easily folded into its attached pouch. It had, minimal branding on it. It had a fashion meets kind of a sporty look to it. It wasn't ever intended to be the main bag. Mm-hmm. And funnily enough, here we are 2.5 years later, and that first product, the Balos, is definitely the tried and true. We've gone on to others, but that bag for many is the main bag. So, and the type of work we're doing with businesses in the corporate sales space and corporate gifting, everything we're designing is really with that in mind. How could it be used for a branding exercise, for companies to decorate or put logos on? Fabric choices are made with that in mind, and kind of everything we design has to be additive. So the thesis of the brand is not about having, many. It's about having one that functions across a lot of end uses so that we're not cluttering with a lot of excess. And working in fashion, I was exposed to packaging throughout my whole life, my career. I actually love shopping bags, but I was increasingly noticing just when and where there was a place for beautiful packaging and where it felt excessive. And, going to trade shows, certainly in the retail arena, how could we get more sustainable with the choices we're making? And then beginning to see certain retailers giving away what they called a reusable bag, but it really wasn't anything meant to hold up over time. And that's when something sparked in me. I felt like there could be something better from a consumer standpoint that really, bridge the notion that you could have it for a long time. And if you're a Gen Z or millennial and that's your audience, they're looking for items like that and they really value it. And so that's where the whole idea sparked. And it was late 2019 when I kind of started looking into production, and then the pandemic began. And so I really used the time to dig in, and I'm a brand builder first and foremost. And so I really created an ethos and a brand to begin with. And then I rallied a lot of my contacts and partners from my limited brands days from a production, manufacturing, sourcing, perspective. And yeah.
So what would you say makes these bags different than kind of the typical reusable bag? I think you've touched on it a little bit, like it's the nicer material. It has that like very, design focused, ethos, but like what else helps this kind of stand apart? Because there's so many different like reusable bags out there.
Yeah. So on the technical side, I wanted it to have closure. I live in New York City. And the way that I moved through the day, I was also noticing how people were coming out of the pandemic and what life was like. And there are a lot of walking going on. The way we moved and we carried was actually evolving. So I wanted closure, and I put a drawstring. This is the main Ballos bag. And so there's a drawstring element to almost every bag that we have today that contains the products that are the items that are contained within it. And then I put Velcroed pockets on the front of it so that, and then the size and the shape and the handle configuration, everything was super thought through from a design perspective. And when we got into the Museum of Modern Art, the design store, that was really kind of a great recognition because so much went into the design of it. So it certainly is not just a t-shirt bag. It was meant to have the simplicity of that shape, but then with so much more baked into it. And when it's packaged, it really folds into a small pouch that it absolutely really can easily fold back into. So if you're choosing to do that, and it has a carabiner on it and metal hardware. So in every single way, I can say it was pretty well intended and thought through. We thought about shoulder lengths for any type of a consumer and really tried to come to the happy median of whomever was carrying it, so that there was just this idea that it was not, and our colors are not seasonal. They're minimal, but we're always thinking of how does it transcend season. Fashion is important to me. I pay a lot of attention to trends that are out there, but at the end of the day, we want these items to really be with you. And every single product we put out has to be additive. So that's what we say. We're not looking into the market and saying, how do we copy what's there? We're really looking to kind of introduce innovation within the bag space. And while it started as the reusable bag, concept, we've now grown beyond that. And so by virtue of bag, everything should be a reusable bag. I mean, for continued use, but how the straps fall onto it. The most recent introduction that we just launched is called the Bondi bag. And that is a oversized, you can see it right here behind my back, but that also comes in its own packaged pouch. And that actually goes from a tote to an entire weekender. With a more durable type of a fabric. And then I should touch on that. All of our fabrics are made from 100% recycled ocean plastic.
So that means, are they actually retrieving it from the ocean, or is it ocean bound plastic? Like what is the actual?
So no, these are actually materials that are sourced from the ocean and then sent to our factory in Taiwan, where they are cleaned, processed, broken down, and then reconfigured into fabrication. So yeah, they really truly are coming out of the ocean. And we work with an ocean charity partner called Oceanic Global, who is doing terrific work. And so we give 5% of our profit back to them. So it's a fully circular process. This week is World Ocean Day on Thursday. And I'll be at
And of course, sorry to interject. This will be coming out later, but
sorry. Okay, got
so
it.
it's June
8th.
June 8th is World Ocean Day.
Yeah.
But keep going. I'm sorry.
Okay. We're very involved with them as a partner. The choices we make are really deliberate in all aspects of the business. And for me in my career, this has just been really an amazing putting together of so many of the pieces. And so I know you're interested in what our sales channels are.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we have a direct-to-consumer business. We are a brand that anyone can access through our website, BYBBA.com. We are also working on a wholesale basis. So we work with retailers. I work with Bloomingdale's, and we did a custom program to reinvigorate their big brown bag. That's called the Big Reusable Bag, which is super fun, and that's replenishes on a beautiful basis because the customer is loving it, and that's in this original shape. And then we have our corporate sales division, which is really very exciting in terms of being recognized for innovative product. We're certainly putting out a premium product that holds up, and businesses are really looking to as a outgrowth or an extension of values. So working with distributors and really, honing in and getting deeper into what are the price points that we want, what are the shapes, and how do they take decorating, thinking a lot about that as we go. And so all of our packaging too, this was a program we did for Aon for their holiday gift. And so all of our packaging is fully reusable, sustainable, 100% recycled, verified. And we actually go and we create, belly bands with our brand information if that's what was wanted. We work very closely with distributors to make their clients' vision come to life.
Yeah. So I just wanted to go back to the ocean plastic. I've heard from people in the past, and maybe technology has just gotten better, but I've heard that sometimes the quality of plastic that you're recovering from the ocean isn't as good. Like, but I know that you mentioned that, like, you want like that very high quality, like, textile you're making. So how do you make sure you're getting quality kind of input to get that output that you want, but still keeping it sustainable?
Yeah. So working with a production partner, we started in Cambodia and we moved then our production over to China. But I can say that our sourcing team over there has been my right arm. I confidently can say I have not been there because of travel restrictions with COVID and such, but I do aspire to get there. But the amount of reporting that we get and verification is really top notch. And a great example is, this original Ballos bag is the closest I could come to a certain Italian nylon that we all love. And it feels really nice and rich to the touch. It is verified as 100% recycled ocean plastic. But then from the culinary sector, I was getting a lot of requests for something more water repellent so that you put an entire head of lettuce in, or you could put your gym clothes in and they were wet. And that's what led us to our next innovation, which is the SUR. And the SUR is, it's a tougher recycled ocean plastic, but we wanted that. And this is a little crunchier, but you want to be putting your wets into this. They all clean really nicely, but this one is going to be more water repellent, in fact. This is water resistant. And so there are different paths to go down. The way that the plastic is broken leads you to the finish that is on it. For this one, we really wanted a beautiful touch and a hand, and it didn't make noise around you. Personal pet peeve of my own. Don't want a crunchy bag when I don't want a crunchy bag. But for this one, when I'm going to the market or I'm, just moving through my day, this is a horizontal tote bag, very different and, intention for this. And so different types of ocean plastics for different projects. And then this is the Bondi that I just described to you. And this actually opens up into this large tote bag that extends by way of toggles on the sides to be various sizes. So, everything is really intentional. This is a beautiful heavyweight nylon, and so we're doing a lot of decorating on the outer pouch. This is, a beautiful end product.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing that you mentioned that I really like is the bag, it has the pouch that it goes into, but it's big enough to easily fit back in because like if you get like a sleeping bag or something that
Yeah,
is like perfectly like smushed into this bag, and then as soon as you take it out, you never get it back
yeah,
in, and it's so frustrating.
yeah. No, we really thought about that. Super proud to say that we have had so few returns on the multiples of thousands and thousands of bags. So, it does speak for itself. We're now 2.5 years in, and we're still, like, I was anticipating some returns from the early days, even though for consumer we do have a 30-day return policy. We're pretty generous. I personally want to hear about any defects that are occurring, and we're not really hearing about those. It's turned out to be a great giftable. That is a little bit of the secret sauce. It's a self-purchase, but it's very much also just really performing on the gifting level. And we're very restrained with what we put out. And so as we think about new introductions and such, as I said, it's really with intention. And what does the market hold and need? We listen a lot to price points that that distributors are looking for, trying to do well there. Our turnaround times, as a business, we love feedback and trying to get better, but really stay differentiated in terms of the bag space.
Right. So, we talked about your background in fashion and how you wanted to make this a very, fashionable, like design centric product. I think, like we hear a lot about how, fashion is trying to get more sustainable, or there's sustainable brands, but then there's greenwashing. So, and I sometimes think there's like a disconnect between like sustainability and style. So, what are your thoughts on how we can kind of marry the two and make sure that, you know, something sustainable still has that style and it's something people want to use, but also just how fashion can just be more sustainable? Like how do we bring these things together?
Yeah. For me, what is sustainability? It is the fabric choices. It is the durability and the longevity of the product. Um, I mentioned I worked in luxury. I worked in mass. The best things that I have in my closet and wardrobe are from those houses where they put, beautiful, beautiful treatments into the products they were making. And so for me, it's about things that will be with you over time, that are not trend items, and the shapes that they are. So, what I look to a lot of luxury houses for what we're thinking about and doing, in terms of, what are their iconic styles and what is really performed over time. So I'd say we are more on the classic side. We're not, avant-garde in any way, but highest priority is longevity and durability, that you will want to use it over time. You're not buying it as an impulse purchase, and just upholding that as a standard. And so
Yeah.
durability, but with clean lines, modern design, those are kind of our ethos behind it all. So I can't attest to the fact that everyone's version of fashion is that, but for us, it really is defined by quality.
Mhm. Right, and it's kind of like the opposite of that fast fashion, like
Yeah,
something new all the time, but maybe not as well made.
yeah. We look though to like the classic fisherman style net bag, for instance. We actually reinterpreted that because I think that is an iconically amazing shape, and it breathes, and it but I infused it. The handles are made of our Technolux, which is 100% recycled, and then the netting is upcycled, and there's two pockets. And so we took an old idea and we actually gave it a modern twist that is more functional to me than an average net bag where a lot of things can fall out of it. So we definitely think about the practicality. We think about commuting, the way you carry, whether it's groceries or your laptop. We're just thinking about modern consumption and behavior in the world today. How do we travel? What is a flight? Do you need a zipper? Do you not? All these things kind of, inform the choices that we make.
Yeah, I love that. I love that all those things are taken into consideration, because sometimes you'll get like you think about like women's pants maybe, and it's like, why are there no pockets? And like, okay, fine, like the line looks nice, but I really want pockets. But like it sounds like with these bags, you're thinking about every kind of angle. And I like that a lot.
Yeah, the development cycle, I will say, for an average style is about a year. So
Okay.
that's how much time goes into the sampling process and the rigor, and then the testing before we greenlight it. Again, we're not really in it to have hundreds of SKUs and products every year. We want to be known for that iconic style, and so that's kind of where we are.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add about your product, the industry as a whole, fashion, sustainability, just, whatever comes to mind?
Yeah, no, I think that, I think the world has changed, and we must change with it, is how I view it. And so I'm looking at a young consumer, and what their value systems are. And, by young, I mean like early 20s, starting careers, and the way that they're viewing the world. And I do think there's room for us, the, the whole industry, fashion. By that, I mean fashion. I mean, promotion, to really think about just what we're putting in it. And I'm admittedly somebody who was not the most sustainable one in the room, but I want to be that person. And I look around me and I see others that really want it as well without sacrificing on style. And so yeah, I hope and we're talking a lot this week with World Ocean Day, about just how do we kind of bring single-use products to the next level. And I think it's an exciting prospect. So I hope there's an appetite for it. We're very easily, contacted by our website, and we have a team of corporate salespeople that really we're dialing into the industry because we think that there is such an opportunity to up the ante on design.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Pam, thank you so much for talking with us today. This has been great. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.